So should we start with a cheers?
Why not?
Yeah.
Cheers, lad.
Lovely. So, what I think might be handy for people to know is how we come across you. Because obviously, what we were really looking for, and I spoke to George and Alex about this, if you look at the prop space at the moment and the demographic of the prop space, it's normally guys and girls in sort of 18 to 30 years old. And I think what we're trying to get across here and what we thought would look good is having somebody reasonably established, somebody with very good market knowledge, to be able to communicate with our audience and share good experience, somebody with a decent CV. So I've obviously, how me and you come to meet each other, I mentioned this to a good friend of ours, David, at Pill Hunt, which is obviously where I think you worked for a number of years.
That's right.
I kind of gave him the rundown of the type of guy that we were looking for, and he immediately stopped me and said, "I know just the man." Hence the reason why we gave you a call. What I'd really quite like to know is, from your perspective, in terms of what you've done in the past. I think you've worked at, it's not just Pill Hunt, I think you've been at various institutions across town, haven't you, over the years?
That's right.
How you would compare what you've done in the past to how you see Alpha Capital, because it must be completely different kettle of fish.
It's absolute chalk and cheese. Trying to explain it to people who didn't even get the job I did before are going like, what are you talking about? How can this possibly be? I said, well, try and think of it. It's the way the little man being able to have a go.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not often you get the chance to get access to capital, and with the project we're trying to set out with me, of trying to demystify everything a little bit. You know,
Yeah.
Over the years, the reason that David has said that I've written pieces wherever I've been, I've had a combination of macro and markets background.
Yeah.
And I've got this sort of skill for bringing it all together. And now, the only criticism people can give sometimes is, right, you've made it too highbrow. I say, right, that ain't a problem. I'll bring it back. And it's not about dumbing down. It's about bringing it up to people.
Yeah.
But
I
think, like to chop things into little.
I think that will be your biggest challenge here, because people want to hear layman's terms. A lot of people talk a lot of market jargon, which for you is your bread and butter. You understand it, you know, in your own head. I think your biggest challenge here is to be able to get that across in layman's terms for people to really understand what you're saying, to help develop their own knowledge. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
you know,
no, it's funny enough.
There might be terminology you use, even to me, which is completely alien to me. So what will be interesting to see is how you can sort of condense it, bring it down, and get it across for people to understand in quite a simple way, you know?
Yeah, well, it's always the challenge. That is the perennial challenge. Like I say, I've had mixed feedback even over the last couple of weeks talking to people about doing this, and I think the net of it is going, actually, over the years, you've really made things really simple to me. You know, and that's the way I like it. Well, I was trained at UBS to look at things being, you might be positioned in A, B or C or something, but actually, do you know, if you actually analyse all that, you're actually long or short of D. Now that, you might be listening to that and thinking, what good's that to ACG? Well, I want to be able to show people that they might have gone long gold and long a certain currency and they've gone short of something else, and they think they're nice and protected, but actually they've probably put the same bet on 3 times.
Yep, so they're more exposed than they think they are, right?
So I think stuff like that is useful, and then it'll get them thinking about what it is when they're doing it. It's not just, you know, I was thinking how to bring things down. The amount of telly I've watched over the years and game shows, it's like a crystal maze. You buy yourself time with the crystals, which is what you need to do in the market, so that you can work out what's going on. And then when it comes down to executing, you're in that maze with the silver and gold going around. You can't just you can't just reach up and grab everything. You end up with all the rubbish, don't you?
Do you remember they'd done a BBC programme where they brought like 20 people from all different backgrounds in? I think they gave them a pot of money, and they all had a week or 2 weeks to trade to see how they got on. Right. I thought that was quite interesting as well, because they brought them into the trading environment. I mean, some guy could have been working at Sainsbury's, the other guy was like a builder or whatever it may be.
And he's probably the winner.
Well, that was the funniest thing about it. You know, there was some real intelligent academic guys there, but they weren't necessarily the guys that got in front. You know, I think the guy who ended up with the most profitable trades, I can't remember what he did for a living, but he was the least likely geezer you'd expect to
Well, you know what? One of the strangest things that happened to me was the way I went from Sun Alliance Investment Management to UBS.
Yeah.
So they had a soft com day, which was a risk game.
What's a soft com day?
So you a reward back. So from a mega bank like UBS.
Oh right, okay.
Like if you want to get some free training in for some of your graduates, that's come and do this. So they had this graduate trainee risk day, and this guy set up a system where there was news flow coming out, and you had to decide what you had to buy and sell to make money.
Yeah.
And I won that by.
So you had to be reactive, right? Yeah.
I won that by a country mile and got invited by UBS to come and be a trader. But exactly that whole, they call it Pavlov dogs, don't they? You know, where you're like,
yeah.
I sometimes think, can we just like roll this all back and make it simple because we're overthinking it?
Yeah, but I think that's sometimes why people don't enter the market, because the way it's portrayed is probably a little bit more difficult than it is.
Well, it's designed, isn't it? It's like obscure, and you make more money, don't you, if you're the seller? It's like, you know,
Well, that's
keep
it,
everyone
but
in, keep everyone
it's
in the
also,
dark.
a lot of it's based on discipline, and you don't have to be academically gifted to have discipline in any walk of life, whatever you do, you know?
I mean, I've got a little story that's, because I'm new to the platform, and I've just been having a little tickle around on it just to see, just to try and feel how it'd be, not having much knowledge and where you can mess up. And then,
How do you find it?
Oh, it's brilliant.
Is
It's
it?
great, yeah.
In your experience and the tools and sort of the trading tools and research that you've used over the years,
I think we're going to smarten it up. I think I've been at the,
is there room for improvement?
There's definitely room. There's always room for improvement, and I want to be able to instantly, as a trader, have everything set up and it be rolling in, and not having to search and mess around. And sometimes we hit parameters on how many signals you can have and this sort of stuff.
But from what you initially expected to when you actually logged on, is it better than you thought it might look?
You know, given the demographic, they explained to me what it was, what you've actually provided them. When I started out and you start messing around with index boys and trying to have a go, and you think everyone's against you and there's no one to help you, jeepers. If you're coming onto somewhere like Alpha Capital and you've got access straight away to someone teaching you, or someone looking at your psychology, someone telling you that what trades are that aren't going to work, and you know what actually ones that do, to try and get you into that mindset of being disciplined. That's incredible.
That's going to be a large part of why you're here as well. You know, obviously what we can't do, we can't advise on trades, and nor do we ever want to advise on trades. What we can do for our community and our customers is help them develop their knowledge, which you will be key to going forward for us, you know?
Well, I think what people always forget is, and I was describing it before, when everything's not going as people plan and something weird happens and the market moves, you'll know it from your guys, and someone will ask what's going on and no one knows, they go, it's more buyers than sellers. You know, and irony, we've always got buyers and sellers. Yeah. And there's always buyers and sellers doing something different. So whether you're little man or big man, you are part of this. You've got to feel a part of it. And even you doing your little trades at Alpha Capital are relevant. There's a way that that's affecting stuff. And it's all about trying to work out who's in the ascendancy at any one point. So what I'm going to try and help people with is, you've got the same instrument, but if you look at it on a weekly, daily, hourly, half an hour, 5 minutes, they can, some of those can be going up, some going down, and that's all viable. And it's not to be put off. We're just going to try and guide you through what you should be looking at.
But on that note, I think when we initially started this business, going back 3 or 4 years ago, I think the main thing that attracted me to this company is a cheap entry to market. And what I mean by that, and you'll know this better than anybody else, I'll put myself as an example. When I first started trading, I was trading FTSE index, which in comparison to the DAX, Wall Street, NASDAQ, is quite mild in terms of movement. You know, it's more of a range-bound type market.
But then you end up putting too much in.
That was the problem, yeah. As soon as I was given leverage, I took it right to the max. And your first mistake is always the most costly mistake, and one that you learn from. And I remember having, when I first started, some whiter than white moments. You know that feeling, you know, and you're on margin call, you can't fund it, you get yourself in a pickle. And it's a tough lesson, but I think it's a lesson that everyone needs to learn. But going back to my point, the reason why I like Alpha so much is it's a cheap entry to market. For example, if you want to come on and buy a 25k challenge or a 50k challenge, whatever the cost may be, $400 or $500, okay? There's your maximum risk there. Now, if you go and breach on that account, or you drop your 5% or your 10%, well, look, you knew what you're up for at the start. But it's kind of teaching people before they lose what can be sometimes life-changing money, you know, which is...
You know, numerous examples. Yeah, I've spoken before about my first foray when I was having that UBS job.
Yeah.
I'd gone to live back up north for a few months while I
Yeah,
was in my gardening leave, and I'm on a train back down, position on Wall Street on the Dow. Look, did all my due deal, nothing out, no major earnings, no speeches,
Calm.
no data. What could possibly go wrong, Rodney? On the train, nice and relaxed. And back then, mobiles are mobile. There's no info. There's no bloody iPhone.
Yeah.
I get off at St Pancras and the thing's red hot. The answer phone's full. I've got margin calls left, right, and centre.
Yeah.
Greenspan does his irrational exuberance speech. If you can remember back that far.
Yeah.
All right. Market must have gone down about 15%, and I lost 40% of the capital I got because I didn't have a stop loss on.
On a train journey.
On a train journey.
On a
with
train
nothing
journey.
supposed to happen. So you very quickly learn.
Yeah.
You know.
It's funny, really, actually, when you look back. I always remember those moments, and you don't really just have one, do you? No. There's a few, you know, and even despite how educated you are and how long you've been in it, you're only a day away from that move again, you know, and that sick feeling in your stomach. And you only really remember them. You never really remember the trades where you just nailed it and everything went according to plan and perfect. I don't remember any of them. And I have made some money, you know, but I just don't remember it as much as the days where you take the big drops. But I suppose what people should understand about you, have you always been an analyst rather than a trader? Or?
No, I've been also. So I started off Sun Lions side where I was learning to be a fund manager and an analyst.
Yeah.
But I found that a little bit, for my characteristics, a bit too sleepy, and I was always doing a little bit more trading on the side.
Yeah.
And to a certain extent, you know, I remember it today, and it was the reason that I decided to move. That I was on the bond desk, and only guy manning it while they were having a board meeting, and there was a non-farm payroll day that missed or beat. I think it beat in '97 or something by about
by a margin,
by about 800,000.
Yeah.
And because I've been trading for myself, and I'm going, fuck me, that is like, I've got that, you know, my own things are beeping off. I'm going, that's important. So I made one of the youngsters go into a board meeting to interrupt it to say, look, you need to come back to desk. And they're going like, oh no, don't worry about it. It's
not bothered, not interested.
Nah. And I'm going, how can that, something so relevant that, as I've subsequently found out, everyone's so focused on.
And they're still in the meeting room tucking into their sarnies.
Is this going to be for me? Because I want to be right in amongst.
Because there is that stigma that surrounds analysts as being quite boring, isn't there?
Well,
really?
Exactly. So
9 times out of 10. But also, the reason I ask you that as well is there's another stigma that surrounds analysts where they never put their cock on the block as well. They love to make the calls. They love to tell everybody what's what. I've never in my years ever trusted an analyst that doesn't trade himself, because that makes no sense to me whatsoever. But it sounds like during the years and wherever you've been, you've always run your own account. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've done all sorts of things, and that whole psychology thing. I mean, at the time around the 2001 bust.
Yeah.
The markets had got so silly that the salesmen were running around. All they wanted to know was what they could do PA. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know a famous. I won't mention his name, but he went on to have his own hedge fund. He threw back his £1 million bonus because he was making more.
PA trading.
I was like, that's just so arrogant.
And back in that day, back in the early noughties, it was a little bit looser in terms of what you could do on your personal PA.
Well,
just for purpose of this, his personal account. It was a lot looser in terms of what you could do on your personal account, compliance-wise, in comparison to how
where I was going to go with
right?
that was a time when I really was a little man. My dad just retired, postman all his life, driver, pension. I said, we can do something with this. Got 15 grand and got him invested. We bought something called Albright and Wilson because we thought there was a bid room around, and that.
So it was you and your dad together in the account, right?
Yeah. So got all that in, and then tech bubbles going mad. I was long with this thing called KMS, Knowledge Management Systems, Telecom Plus, various other these things. That 15 grand went up to 250 grand.
Wow.
And
in quite a short space of
time, and because of all the way I look at markets and analysing as well as being a market maker at the time, I'm going like, I want to buy a put. This thing is so wrong. I said, I think we might as well ride this and get as much as we can. And before you know it, things just started going wrong. And then this is where people have to be careful. You're not a master of the universe. Yeah. You don't know everything. And I heard such and such a person in the city had sold out. I went, well, what's he know? I know more than him. Yeah. Me and the other
was
guy,
that denial? Looking back, was that denial?
This is it. You've got to accept it. And it's a real harsh lesson because we're talking about, do we put KMS on the tennis court or do we just do it on the net? You know, it's like, before you know it, it's going through the floor. I can't get my dad out in time. And it's like,
And did it run all the way down?
All the way down. It ended up with 25, 30 left.
And 4-year-old man who was don't take this in the wrong way, you're a
know.
postman all
It's
this
money-
life,
it's
going from
life-changing
15
money.
to 250, it's a big deal, right? It's a massive deal for him.
And you hear these tales. We've got people on our Alpha Capital site with relationships.
Isn't that interesting psychology, right? Because you spend time being an analyst. If it's not your money on the table, you look at when a trade is wrong, you could easily suggest to anyone, I can suggest to you now on your own account, I think you should cut that trade. When it's your own position, isn't it? And this, I still do this now with my own investments now. I talk them up.
This is it.
And I know I'm in denial. And then what happens is when the trade starts going against me,
you change a narrative.
I'm on the internet searching about potential good news that can help my trade, which is just pure denial.
That's the old crack they call it.
I still don't cut my own trades as quick as I should do.
You've just explained the thing that you hear and you go, what the hell's that? People say you're looking for confirmation bias. You literally...
Is that the term?
That's what they call it. Right?
Confirmation bias.
Yeah. A jazzed up term to say, I'm a narrative. Yeah. I ain't cutting this.
But we still do it, right?
It's fun. And ironically, I like the way that this platform's set up. I like this way that you instantly not letting them do this martingale doubling down thing. That's a great discipline to have. And have the stop loss in there. And I was saying to people the other day, I don't understand why people don't put limits in as well. It's available for you there. Trade it, you're never going to catch it. Perfect example, and I'm now going through the psychology, having been in this position on Friday.
Yep.
So I had I've been doing a little bit of fundamentals on gold.
Yep.
Dabbled around a couple of times, but I've been drawing the charts for months. And to me, that chart, it's in a bullish uptick, and of late it's bottomed out, and we've been building up, and we've been building up to have another breakout. Mm-hmm. I've been nibbling. I thought, well, it's coming sometime now before the end of the year because of the way that the dollar's going, and blah, blah, blah. We're going to have one more blast out. And I'm long on the way into the Christmas party on Friday, and I'm on the train. I've put stop loss, and I've put a nice big limit on in case it goes up. And I'm thinking, what am I doing? I'm breaking all my rules. If you're going out on the slash, you're not having positions.
So miss the trade.
Miss the trade, right? So I'm up 500 bips. Right?
Yep.
Brilliant. I'll take that. I'll go and enjoy myself for the afternoon. Didn't even look at it.
Yep.
We're in the pub pre-dinner. I subsequently find out later it starts getting a bit exciting.
Yeah.
And then overnight, until the Sunday morning open, it opens 100 points up. That's 10,000 bips in our bips and pints.
But you're not in the trade,
I'm
right?
not in. And I'm sat there going, how the hell have I just missed the one thing that I've been set up for? But it's I'm disciplined.
Yeah.
The market is going to be open every day.
Yeah.
You've got another chance.
Yeah.
And what's to say that if I'm watching that, I haven't changed my mind and I've gone short halfway through.
Lovely.
Oh, brilliant. It's more like it.
Is this any different, Alex? Or
So this is what the guys have got to get over.
is it better than the last one? Yeah. Great. Cheers.
Cheers, properly.
Yeah, mate.
So this is what I'm automatically going back over the years of what we've learned die hard with market making and trading and prop trading going.
Are you still trading now yourself? So you've still got an account, you're still quite active.
My problem is...
What's your main things that you like to trade? What would you look at, or can that be quite broad?
Across the board. So when I did that UBS trading game and they brought me across, when I was doing my own trading, I was trading in Italian bond futures back then, and all, people going, "Who's this kid that's like?"
That's well over my head. I wouldn't even know. I would never.
So like buying gilts in the UK,
Yeah.
So everyone's going, "What the hell are you doing in that?" So there was a particular reason I knew something was going on in Europe because I loved macro and I was watching macro. So So as historic as that. For some reason, the missus reminded me the other day that you're not playing gold again, are you? For some reason, I must have lost a load over the year that I can't even remember.
Yeah.
So, but do like that. That's a great one. It's a really good technical. Mm-hmm. If you get in the commodities really good on the charts. So that's brilliant for being able to talk about.
Have you found that? Do you find that you have more luck making money on the likes of indices and gold than you would do in forex?
Certainly.
Or is that a myth?
I mean, because
I've tried forex a few times. I've done quite well out of the FTSE over the years. I like the FTSE because it's a quiet market, it's range bound. I look for my 10, 20 ticks and I'm happy with that. You know, even if I miss out on the rest, like you were just saying on that other trade. Any single time I've tried to trade forex, wrong side, every single time. And now I don't touch it.
But you've got a background in stocks as well, haven't you, in the shares?
I love the
which
stocks.
we're not doing in a minute. But to me, forex and stocks, institutionally and professionally, trade in a very similar way. That there's big orders out there that you don't know about. Yeah. And you can see it. So a lot of the time, I've explained to people before that I'm looking for this cartoon physics, where it's over the edge and going to drop down. Get the V shapes. Well, that's normally someone finishing off an order. Like, why the hell is that stock there, up there or down there? It's normally because to make money these days, you've got to get that share price to where it needs to be at the end of the order. And And that's the same with, people have told me over the years, they know X bank has got a line in the dollar that you're never going to come across. But we're going to have to look at that in reverse. We're going to go, right, we know that there's a bit of a volume spike here and there's momentum changes. And this way we can try and guide the punters having half a chance.
Well, that's it. Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you, actually. So looking, because, I mean, you've been stuck straight under the cosh, haven't you? You haven't really been able to come in and do what you want to do just yet. You know, it's more of an introduction into, I'll call you Planty, but Jonathan
Everyone
Plant or
knows
whatever.
Planty, that's the way to go.
So on that note, what type of things would you like to do in order to help improve our customers' education? What type of ideas have you got? For example, do you think maybe once or twice a week, maybe on a Monday morning and the closing market on Friday, maybe doing a 10-15 minute audio update, so you could talk people through the markets over the week? Or would you be happy to go the extra mile and maybe even do some, as time goes on, maybe some one-on-one tuition with people as well to help them?
If ever we're doing that, whether he's willing to let us record it and put it, I think that'd be great education, because it's difficult to create a product real time and guarantee it's going to work. But if you're doing it with someone and there's a reason behind it, it's going to make much more sense to everybody.
Because like I said earlier, we don't want to be looking to advise somebody, but I think what would be really helpful for somebody, let's say, for example, you've got non-farm payrolls out in a week. So you can talk about that on a Monday. Let's say they're not coming out until the Wednesday. Is it normally Wednesday? Friday, sorry, yeah, of course. You could say on Monday what to look out for in terms of the estimates. If you get a bigger number, expect the dollar to do this. If we get a lower number, expect gold to be impacted this way. So rather than, you're not advising people, but you're helping people to look out for the key bits of information during the week,
Which are the bits of the puzzle, because, as we said, different time frames, it's going to do different things on the same bit of information, and has that changed? Everyone calls it swing trading now, but it's kind of, for me, I'm looking for wave theory is the way I look at it. It moves in 5s and 3s and that sort of stuff, and there's fractals, Russian dolls, I call it. There's a smaller one and a bigger one, all on the same market, So it's about identifying where's the best opportunity at any one time, which time frame should we be trading it in.
But going on to what we were saying about your plans going forward, and basically, how can we project you onto our audience to give them an upper hand? I think something that would potentially be quite a good idea is to do maybe a podcast, something similar to this, maybe even call it Pips and Pints. Where
it's my favourite two pastimes.
Yeah, exactly that. Where maybe even what could be a good idea: hire a pub in London once a month, invite our customers down for a very relaxed conversation with you, couple of drinks. Doesn't have to be formal, does it? But I think it would just be good engagement, give people a chance to meet you and meet us.
And I think you get to hear this a lot now, because it's quite right. I've worked at firms like UBS, number one, and clients always first.
Yeah.
Let's not forget that. It's all well and good me telling the clients, let's hear what they want from me.
Yep.
So let's get them in here and put me under pressure.
It'd be good feedback, wouldn't it? So that means the next time I see you is going to be at Pips and Pints.
Cheers.
Yeah.